Hey guys, it's summer, which means I have some time to make some videos for you guys. Hey guys, so just before we get into the video, I do realise that my mic isn't the best quality right now, but that's only because my PC has very loud fans. Also, if you guys could subscribe, not right now, but when you finish the video if you like it, then please do consider subscribing. Alright guys, so we're going to talk about the proper way to grind zealots. Now this is an expensive way to grind zealots, so if you don't have a lot of money, skip to the next part of the video and I'll show you how to grind it for cheaper. Alright, so we're going to go through the expensive way to grind zealots. Now this way personally has made me 3 million per hour, but it can make you way more than that. Alright, so first things first, you want to have an Enderman pet, legendary. Now this can be very expensive, ranging from 30 million to 100 million. I personally upgraded mine from purple, which I bought off auction house, but if you're gonna buy it, I recommend buying one around 40 to 50 million, because you can get a good level for that, unless you want to level it up yourself. It would be so much cheaper and so much easier to just buy it, but if you wanted to level it up yourself, then I guess you can do that. What the pet does is it basically increases your odds to find a special zealot by up to 25%, depending on what level you have. It's also a very good pet because it adds 57% crit damage at level 76. Next things next, the armor. I would generally recommend Young Dragon armor. It's quite cheap and you can go really fast in it. But if you have another set of armor that gives you a lot of health and you want to use, and you can get some decent speed in it, then go for it and use that. However, if you have a slower set like Shadow Assassin armor, and you haven't really upgraded it to have a lot of speed, you can always buy a God Pot for about 500k and it'll make it go super fast. Either way, I think you should use a God Pot. It adds a lot to your damage, you can jump really high, and your speed just automatically goes really fast. Last but not least, I recommend you go to the auction house and you get yourself a frozen scythe. Forgot the name for a second. And these can generally be quite expensive, with the cheapest being about 7 million. I would recommend getting yourself one that's about 7 to 8 million. That's enchanted already, because that would be pretty good. But these things give you range. Basically, they're like FOT. You have ability Ice Bolt, which shoots an Ice Bolt that deals quite a lot of damage. And yeah, so I would recommend getting this weapon. This is the base stats, so it can do a lot more damage. And this is really good for grinding zealots. I just remembered, you probably want to buy yourself Ender Slayer 6. It does cost 1.5 million coins, but it increases your damage by 100%. If you can't afford this, just get Enderman Slayer 5. Honestly, that's the same sort of thing, and it's really decent. So just make sure whatever you have Ender Slayer on it, because that will really help you grind zealots. All in all, this should cost you about 40 million, which is quite a lot. If you do buy the Young Dragon armor, this should cost you about 42 million. However, you can use any other armor you like, especially expensive armor, because that's what we're talking about here. Okay, next, the cheap way to grind them. Obviously, this way isn't going to be as great, but it will still make you quite a lot per hour. First up, we're talking weapons. The weapon I recommend you use is a legendary aspect of the dragons. It can be whatever reforge you like. I recommend you do exactly what I've done to it, so you can pause the video right now just to see. Also, you can add more enchantments. I haven't added all the enchantments that I need, but it's good enough for me. Alright, I'm about to show you how much damage this does to a zealot. Keep in mind, I do have a level 76 Enderman, and I also, yes, I do have a God Pot. So first we're going to be trying it with the Enderman on, and then we're going to be trying it without the Enderman on. 21k to a zealot, 22k to a zealot. Without the God Pot, I would say around 17k, and if you're on a combat 18, I would say around 14k. Should be enough to kill a zealot. even if you don't do that much damage, as long as you're doing 6k crits, 7k crits, get your crit chance up, and you should be fine. Next up, we are going for the armor. Again, as I said, inexpensive. It doesn't matter what armor you have, but I recommend Wise Young Dragon armor. Wise will give you the mana that you need for the sword, and the extra Young Dragon armor will give you the speed. Now, if you don't have enough money, I recommend searching up some other armor, but I can tell you that there's not much other armor that makes you as speedy as this. As I said earlier, the full set should cost about 1 to 2 mil, I would say on average 1.4 mil. But this set will also give you an insane amount of health as long as you put growth on it. Next up, we're talking pets. You probably won't be able to afford a legendary Enderman if you're watching this part of the video, so I recommend going for a lower version of this. For example, epic or even rare. They're still very, very good. However, if you can't afford that, I recommend going for the Ghoul Pet. The server's too laggy to use auction house, so we'll just go back to the hub. Anyways, I recommend going on the auction house and buying yourself a Ghoul Pet. Now this can be really, really cheap, surprisingly, for epic, and this gives you intelligence, health, and ferocity. It also increases healing and health and range of a zombie sword, which I don't think is that useful, but it can really help you. For the next pet, honestly, I wasn't thinking this at first, but you could go for the Griffin Pet. This one is uncommon, and it literally, common, and it literally gives you crit damage, crit chance, strength, and intelligence. It might not give you that much, so you might want to get a higher rarity of Griffin, but they could be more expensive. So I recommend you grab one, any rarity, but they can help you a lot. But that's not the pet I was really talking about. So, one of the pets I recommend is a Wither Skeleton. Now this is actually epic because it's cheaper. This is a level 100 stats or near enough, so you might not want to buy this one because it's very expensive compared to what you might have. But as you can see, it gives you a lot of strength, crit damage, defense, intelligence, and crit chance. So that would be very good. If you're starting out at level 1, it's a bit cheaper, and you might want to upgrade it for better stats. Okay, so if you don't want that, the last one I recommend is the Tiger Pet. The Tiger Pet is a very good pet for damage. Sorry, this must not be the one. I'm trying to find the actual pet. There. So the Tiger Pet is very good for damage because it has a lot of crit chance, crit damage, strength, and ferocity. It also has some very good abilities. Now this one's 2.7 million for a purple one, so if you want to go for rare, there is only one. Okay, I don't know why it's selling for so much, but at some point it should be selling for cheaper. But literally any of the rarities that you want will give you crit damage, strength, crit chance, ferocity, and all that. You'll just have not as many of the actual abilities. So I recommend that is one of the pets that you choose because it's very good. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and it helped you. Please subscribe if it did.